Kader Asmal, a former ANC stalwart, former cabinet minister, human rights activist and parliamentarian, was remembered for his teachings in global human rights. He founded the Council for the Advancement of the South African Constitution in 2010, a year before he passed away in 2011. Celebrating his legacy through his work, the focus on this year's annual lecture was on the current regional and global conflict.
As it is for us to witness the nightmare of the latest incessant and unending war on Gaza, there appears to be no hope for an end to the hostilities between Israel and Palestine. But we can't find our way through this without hope. We don't have the latitude or the option. For a realistic hope, though, we need to begin with an honest conversation that will aim at accountability and a meaningful and lasting just peace. But like Kader Asmal, I believe there is a proper place for legal legitimacy, not peace in the air. For the rule of law, even amongst nations of the world, big and small, and for the unending quest for a better, orderly, and just world where all might be favored with enduring peace and hopefully personal and collective self-realization. Perhaps the most perceptive feature of Kader Asmal's work on the Middle East was his insistence on the value and importance of utilizing international law in furthering any cause of liberation.
Asmal spent almost 3 decades in exile based in Ireland. Some lighter moments were shared during the lecture.
The late Professor Asmal taught law at Trinity College Dublin for 27 years, specialising in human rights, labour and in international law. And in a very wonderful coincidence, my father was one of his students. And my parents even invited him to their wedding. So it's really been a great source of personal pleasure for me to get to know the Asmal family, Adam and Rafiq and Zoe, who are here this evening. It's really been a wonderful kind of closure of a circle, and they have always provided such great friendship and advice to everybody at the embassy, so that family connection is really important to us.
The University of the Western Cape, which co-hosted the annual lecture with KSEC, also gave some reflection on Asmal.
He was really passionate about human rights, about social justice. He lived and he breathed it. And I think he would have been appalled, and he would have been at the forefront of those raising their voices in anger at what's happening in parts of the world, in Sudan, in Gaza and the West Bank, the war between Russia and Ukraine. It is shocking times, but knowing Kader, I know that he would have climbed on all platforms and shouted his anger.
In its reflection, KSEC believes that Asmal would have been very critical of the current destruction that is seen in the Middle East.
Kader spent a lot of his academic life and his activist life as an advocate for global equality, for promoting the rights of self-determination of peoples across the globe, including in Palestine, where he did a significant amount of research and writing on that subject. So we believe that this is an opportune moment to reflect on some of Kader's teachings in respect of those issues. He would have been very agitated, he would have been extremely vociferous, around the failure of international institutions in particular, the United Nations in particular, to take a stronger stance and to actually act in a more effective way to bring a halt to the tragedy that is unfolding in Gaza and the Lebanon.
A fellow comrade and former cabinet colleague, Trevor Manuel, says Asmal cherished the constitution.
We have an amazing constitution, and of course Kader's mind went into that constitution right from the time that Oliver Tambo asked a few of them to sit down and talk about a constitution. And the early drafts of the Bill of Rights actually came from a draft that was done at Kader and Louise Asmal's kitchen table. So Kader lived through the Constitution in its making because it's a unique opportunity to do this. And he cherished the Constitution so much, and I think it's appropriate that the issue of rights and dignity are carried forward in his memory.
Mercedes Besent, SABC News, Woodstock in Cape Town.